Do you think about legacy and what you're leaving with this company and the future of this company, what the world is going to be like?
And I am asked that quite often, right? And I spent 20 years doing the R&D and the investments in advancing this what I think is an incredible program that we've developed. Legacy is an important piece. And one of my responsibilities is to build a management team that can take this to the next level. So this is something that is never going to end. This is the future. And the future is two ways: continue building what we're doing, but more importantly, changing the legacy players to also commit to some of the things that we're doing. And I have no problem with that. I'd like to see that change. And if that is a legacy I leave, then I've accomplished something.
Oh, love that.
Welcome to the Destination Saratoga All Access Podcast, brought to you by Discover Saratoga. Here is your host, Mackenzie Zarzicki.
This podcast takes you behind the scenes with the people shaping Saratoga County's vibrant culture, rich history, and thriving community. This episode is sponsored by Julie & Co. Welcome back to the Destination Saratoga All Access Podcast. Today we're diving into a topic that's becoming more and more important: sustainability. I'm joined by Ralph Bianculli, CEO of Emerald Ecovations, and Kevin Quinn of the New York Racing Association. We're talking about everything from tree-free materials and environmental impact reporting to how Saratoga Race Course, America's oldest active sporting venue, continues to lead the way in modern, eco-conscious innovation. Whether you're a horse racing fan, a sustainability advocate, or just curious about how tradition and sustainability can work together, this is an episode you won't want to miss. Let's get into it. Ralph, welcome. Let's start with a quick introduction. Could you tell us about yourself and how Emerald Ecovations came to be?
Certainly, Mackenzie, and thank you for having me today. It's a long story of where Emerald began and where we are today. The evolution of Emerald has taken place over 25 years. My background has been paper and plastics for many, many years, and one of the things I decided to do several decades ago was to invest and look at opportunities to change the way legacy industries utilize the disposables packaging, which we all know everybody uses every day. Certainly, it's something that's cluttering up our landfills and cluttering up our waste stream. So I did a real commitment to get involved with it, learning the technology, literally traveled around the entire world to find the new ways to bring these types of products to the market. So it's been an interesting endeavor, and it continues.
That is crazy. We talked a little bit off camera, crazy in a good way. We talked about it off camera about sustainability and the importance of our generation moving into that and how recycling isn't really as good for the environment as we thought. Can you talk a little bit about that and how Emerald is flipping the script?
It's a good way of putting it, flipping the script, and it's true. The unfortunate part of our waste stream system has been quite deceitful, quite honestly, over the last 4 or 5 decades. Recycling is something that, in terms of being successful, that was the goal. Unfortunately, today, every plastic product that you put into the recycling bin, 9% of that ends up getting recycled. 91% ends up in the landfills, which today are becoming way too overloaded, and landfills in many states are being discontinued. So your generation has to start thinking, where does this waste go in another 10, 20 years? And now is the time to start thinking about that.
So why is it that only 9% of recyclables actually get recycled?
Well, when I traveled the world looking at other countries and the way they do things in the recycling industry, they've invested heavily into sophisticated recycling systems, sorting systems, systems that could aggregate these materials. And the most important piece was, what do you do with those finished products when it's recycled? And in this country, we don't have an aftermarket for that. So we have not built the infrastructure like so many countries have. That's led us to the inefficiencies and the ability to take these aftermarket resins, which is petrochemicals. We all hear about PFAS and all the chemicals that are in plastics. What do you do with those plastics after they're recycled? So there's no true aftermarket for that. So there's a lot of reasons why it's not happening.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is, why aren't they explaining that, and why isn't it exposed? Because so many people don't know that fact.
I think that what you're doing is really important because, like you said, people don't know. I think that when I'm at home putting my cans and bottles into the recycling bin, that I'm doing something good for the environment. And that's not the case. So we need people like you, organizations like yours, to not only educate, but provide better ways to take care of the environment. Should we stop recycling?
No, what we need to do is we need advocates to push the industries to advance, as I said, in technology. We understand, being involved in this industry and producing over 370 disposable materials, what it really takes to change the environment. And truly, there's only going to be two waste streams in the future. There's going to be recycling and there's going to be composting. Those two waste streams will probably occupy about 90% of where your waste stream is in the next 5 years.
Wow. That's crazy to think about. On a previous episode, we talked briefly with Kelsey from Sustainable Saratoga about composting, something that you can do at home. Could you give the listeners some tips on how we can get better at recycling sustainability in our everyday life?
And these are the questions that we get asked all the time. And it's a shame that the public hasn't been educated enough. That's one of the things we do as a company. We have a very robust educational platform. It's an accreditation program that we actually are working with many businesses across the country. We have over 3,000 graduates in this academy.
Wow.
And what it does is it educates the true meaning of what is recyclability, what is compostability, and how to improve that. And it starts with where the products come from.
Okay.
And then it ends up, where does it go afterwards, right? What's the afterlife? So education is going to be paramount, and that's one of the things that we've put a lot of emphasis, a lot of resources behind, and we're very proud of some of the things we're doing in the educational space. What
is this program called, and how does someone enroll in the program?
It's free to enroll. You go online at emeraldecovations.com and you go to the Environmental Sustainability Academy.
Okay.
It's the ESA link, and that's our educational platform. You can sign up and you get quite a bit of great information and training process.
That's great. So from a personal standpoint, what drove you to sustainability and to launch this company? Why sustainability? What does that mean to you?
I get asked that a lot. And being in the paper and plastics industries for many, many years, one of the things I learned and recognized was there's a problem that's going to occur in the future. Foam cups, if you remember from your generation,
God,
maybe
styrofoam.
not so much, but
Yeah.
styrofoam is probably what really led me to understand there's got to be a better way. It's a petrochemical. It destroys the landfill processing, leaching chemicals. So foam has slowly been extinguished from the waste stream. But I recognized that early on in the late 90s that there had to be a better way. And there were other environmental issues that occurred on a personal level that I recognized were problems. Mm-hmm. And we're starting to see that in food today and different ingredients that are being used. So I recognized I could make a change in an industry that I did have some control over, and that was the packaging industry. So I put a lot of effort, and here we are today.
That's amazing. So what kind of products do you produce, and what kind of clients do you work with?
We produce over 370 products in our portfolio, everything from food packaging that you utilize every day to facility supplies, towel and tissue. We're the only tree-free towel and tissue producer in the USA today.
What does tree-free mean?
Very good question. Tree-free is not what people think it is, right? People think it's a recycled product.
Yeah.
Tree-free means we aggregate highly renewable fibers from the farmland, and we take those fibers and turn it into paper and plastics. No trees are cut.
Wow.
So that is a huge attribute. So fighting deforestation, which, by the way, is one of the largest sequesters of carbon on the planet next to the ocean, and it releases oxygen. You cut those trees down, you're adding to the bigger problem.
Wow. So
our clients range across the board. We're very proud to have some of the top Fortune 1000 companies that utilize our programs. They embrace it because of several reasons, but mostly because we explain how they can make a difference.
Yeah.
But we don't only do that. We lead with the education piece, but we also, because we control the supply chain, we can control those raw materials, we're able to take these algorithms we built into our system, and we're able to give our clients what we call Scope 3 in our ESG reporting. We give them the metrics of how much trees they saved, how much water they saved, how much carbon they reduced, and
That's
if they
impressive.
utilize our composting system, how much landfill diversion they've participated in. And these
Very
awards
cool.
go out every quarter, and they're highly used by all our clients across the country.
That's amazing. Now, here's a quick message from our sponsor. If you're ready to live in a vibrant downtown full of arts, activities, shopping, fine dining, and world-class thoroughbred racing, or you're drawn to the Adirondack Park with its lakes, trails, festivals, and restaurants, it's time to call Julie & Co. Realty, LLC, your hometown brokerage with local experts. Julie & Co. Realty, LLC gives you the insider's advantage on what's available in Saratoga Springs, the Capital Region, and the Adirondack Park. And with realtors who specialize in lakefront properties, second homes, historic homes, land and commercial listings, they have the premier agent you need to help you buy or sell with confidence. For more information, visit juliecorealty.com. Obviously, Fortune 500 companies can make a huge impact on the environment by composting and using sustainable products. How about the average person? Does that have a similar impact on the environment?
Every container you divert is helping the planet, right? And today, the reason we target large footprints is because we have the most impact. We are expanding into the consumer-driven space. What we're finding is at the corporate levels where we're servicing over 1.3 million individuals a day with our
Wow.
materials. These individuals are starting to recognize the value, and we work with our corporations to deliver that to their employees and stakeholders that are on site in their respective industries. So those individuals go home and they're becoming more educated, and they're making better decisions. So
That's incredible.
We're filtering that education that way, but we want to expand that into the consumer space.
That's incredible. Before we get into some clients, because I know you have a new one here in Saratoga, we talked briefly about all the farms you have across the country and how you work with them to create these products. And you had a special word you shared. Could we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think one of the proudest things I feel personally about is being able to engage this entire business portfolio that we're doing with our clients. But bringing farmers into the equation is very exciting. I travel around the country and I see a lot of farmland being vacated. I see a lot of dried out soils in regions that were originally very harvested regions. So there's a lot of issues with the farmland. We're commissioning thousands of acres of farmland to farmers, and what we do is we ask them to grow these certain fibers. We pay them for these fibers as they harvest them. We utilize them throughout our system, both in materials and finished goods, as well as some of the things that we inadvertently found out was great success. A product called miscanthus, which is a high fiber, fast growing crop, utilizes very little water. And that crop has turned into some of our finished goods, but we're also finding that it's being used now for landscaping, pet bedding, and ironically enough, horse bedding.
Wow.
Some of the greatest material for a lot of reasons, and there are a lot of attributes why it's being used there, but certainly it's exciting. We do own a plant down in Arkansas, so we're generating about 5 tons a day of this material. We're planning on building more of these aggregates around the country. So it's an exciting time for the farmers.
That's incredible. So you literally do it all. You grow the plant, you make the product, you sell the product, you educate the Fortune 500, the company, to use the product, as well as their employees. It's the whole pipeline.
And that is one of the reasons that contributes to our success. Quite honestly, it's being able to control the entire supply chain. And part of that was bringing a technology like this to the U.S., 95% of what you consider a green product, someone will say, oh, it's a green product, generally is made overseas.
Wow.
And
I did not know that.
Those factories are, somewhat controlled, but you don't know where they're coming from, where the material is. We made a serious commitment to bring it here to the U.S. and grow the crops internally.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's controlling that supply chain. That's very, very important.
Wow. That's incredible. I'm blown away. This is so cool. This whole experience, learning about sustainability, making it here in the United States, which provides jobs, helps local farmers, and then obviously bringing it to the corporate level where you are affecting hundreds and thousands of people. And I can't wait for the consumer. I want to get a little compost machine and start doing that, especially if my recycling's not working. So that's amazing. Wow, that's so cool, Ralph. So the reason you're here this weekend is because you announced your partnership with NYRA as the preferred sustainable products partner of NYRA and Saratoga Race Course, which is huge. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you share how that partnership came about?
Well, I think I'm an advocate of horse racing. I've been involved in horse racing for many years, and I love the sport, love the thoroughbreds. And part of our initiative going forward with the added capacity we built into our production cycles is targeting sports and entertainment partnerships. And one of them is New York Racing, and we're very happy to join them in their endeavors of changing the dynamics in their space. Their new facility is going to be incredible.
Belmont,
the new Belmont facility. And I think the management recognizes that bringing a sound, sustainable solution that's functional and works is something that is going to not only help their image building in an environment, which I think we all are looking to do that, but it also is a sense to target generational individuals who are much more in tune to the environment, and that's that demographic that is, the 35 and under.
Yeah.
And I think that's an incredible smart move. So we're excited about the relationship. We think it's terrific, and we're launching a lot of it right here in Saratoga.
That's fantastic. Have you seen the renderings for Belmont? Doesn't that look insane?
I've been on site there.
Oh, you have?
And it's going to be an incredible facility. Oh,
that's great. I can't wait to see it. However, I'm very happy it's been under renovation because we've been fortunate enough to have the Belmont here for 2 years. And NYRA announced we'll have it again in 26. So that's exciting. And it's exciting that you can make these changes here at America's oldest sporting venue. So what has it been like to work with Saratoga Race Course?
Well, it's an interesting facility, as we all know, and it's historic in its own way. So working within a facility like this, which is in a natural setting. I mean, let's face it, we're in the countryside. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that we're seeing a lot of excitement in the younger generation and, some of the things we're doing. So we'll be doing a big launch here this weekend on Whitney Day.
Yes.
So it's going to be exciting, educating these consumers that are at the trackside on what it is they're utilizing, how tree-free materials is an exceptional product. It works, it functions, it's chemical-free, toxin-free.
Yeah.
It's got all the elements that we're all looking for in materials. So it's going to be an exciting weekend.
Oh, you say toxin-free, and I get chills thinking about the products we use in our everyday life that have toxins and chemicals, and we're using them on our bodies. It's crazy to think about.
It is, but it needs to be exposed. And we're seeing a lot of that in food. Mm-hmm. And now people are recognizing that, why do you cut down 32 million trees for toilet paper? And then why do you put all those chemicals in toilet paper when you don't have to?
Yeah.
So we took that organic route, and our production and formulations don't include all these types of toxins.
Yeah.
So it's something that, again, is education. How do you bring that to the market, and how do people understand it? Because the legacy players in the space, they've been doing it the same way for 100 years. They're not going to change unless companies like us force them to change.
I love that. And it's probably cheaper, and it's probably just something that they've always done. So I think what you're doing is important to educate them that it's better for the environment, it's better for the consumers. I'm trying to wrap my head around the whole thing. The education is a huge piece, and I feel like I myself need to be better educated. Recently, I became gluten-free, celiac. I was diagnosed with celiac, and I've never looked at food ingredients as much as I have in the last 5 months. And it's crazy to think that we just put additives in that are completely unnecessary, whether it's food or toilet paper or paper towels. It just blows my mind. It's like we're slowly killing ourselves.
It is, and it's avoidable. That's the sad part. And there's choices, and you have to understand what those choices are. But everything from facial tissues to everyday towel and tissue products, you can avoid those chemicals.
Yeah.
You don't have to put them on your body, in your body, wherever it is. It's avoidable. You just got to know how.
Yeah.
You know, some of the largest model agencies utilize our facial tissue for a lot of reasons.
Oh, that's great.
That's one of them, right? No harsh chemicals.
Can I buy your products?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you sell them to consumers if you
Yes.
wanted to purchase?
We have an online platform that we make available to the consumers, and we
fantastic.
do have a lot of activity on that nationwide. So, and that's constantly growing. Again, the flow comes from the corporate settings and the
Yep.
different types of leisure settings. You know, you'll get probably 1.2 million people here for Saratoga's season. So if we can touch 10% of them to convince them that there's other ways to utilize products, alternatives, that's what we're doing.
I love that. Now, here's a quick message from our sponsor. Looking for your next unforgettable night out? Let Metroland be your guide. Whether you're craving rooftop cocktails, chef-driven cuisine, or the best live music in the capital region, Metroland connects you with the pulse of Saratoga and beyond. It's your go-to source for where to go, what to do, and who's making waves in the local scene. From hidden gem restaurants and bar openings to weekend event guides and exclusive interviews with the area's top creatives, Metroland brings the capital region to life one story at a time. So before you plan your next night out, check out themetroland.com and follow the Metroland on Instagram. Metroland, discover your scene. So the common misconception is that sustainability costs more. How do you combat that?
And it is something that we're asked all the time, and it is a misconception. Again, we combat that by putting our pricing very fair in the marketplace. We wouldn't have the account base we have in our business space if we weren't competitive. So the materials don't necessarily cost more, but that's, again, a play on the legacy players that are out there doing the same thing for 100 years. Is they put that out, but it's quickly becoming a fallacy that's everybody's recognizing.
Yeah, so pricing's getting more competitive, which is great. And I mean, the cost of living has increased. So it's not like I would rather pay a little more for a better product, because at the end of the day, you're ingesting it, you're putting it on your body. Like, it just makes sense, right? I mean,
well, think about foam cups as we briefly
styrofoam,
talked about, right? Foam cups are 1/3 the cost of paper cups.
okay.
So why do all the major coffee chains use paper cup, right? They use it because it's much better than foam products, right?
Yep.
So people will pay more. In our case, it's not necessary. They're not paying more. And if that's an easy change to make.
Yeah.
They just have to understand, the choices. And that's our job. Our job is to continue
The education.
educating the choices.
I love that. One day, hopefully, you'll be in local grocery stores, and then you can just go in and pick the better option.
Yes, and I think that's coming sooner than later.
I love that. That's awesome. But you can purchase it online on your website.
You can purchase it online, correct.
Perfect. And can you do like a subscription?
Yes, I believe there is a subscription program being developed right now.
Fantastic. I'm all about the subscriptions. You just set it up and then it gets delivered weekly or monthly, whatever the cadence. Fantastic. So what are some of the ways you're helping NYRA advance their sustainability goals? I know environmental impact reporting is one of them. What does that mean?
That is a tool that we built into our platform, I briefly touched on, because we control the raw materials in the entire supply chain. What I mandated years ago was I wanted metrics built around every ounce of our material, and then turn that into how it's actually affecting the users. And it turned into something that was incredible. The algorithms we built now impact all 370 plus products. So what happens is, and you'll see this if you do visit the racetrack this season, you'll see it around the entire track, announcing some of the impacts that New York Racing is going to have on its footprint based on the materials that they're now using. And it's quite significant. So these metrics are very easy to understand. How many trees did you save? How much water? How much carbon was reduced?
Yeah.
These metrics are easy and they're related to your everyday use. So New York Racing is now going to be announcing that throughout the season, and I think we're already seeing patrons respond to it.
That's awesome. I think that what you're doing, again, is so fantastic, and I just love that NYRA is on board. As you know, they're one of our largest attractions in Saratoga. Saratoga is more than the summer place to be, but summer we definitely thrive. So I think you picked a good organization to start with here in Saratoga. And I hope it expands. I hope we get more places around here that follow NYRA's lead. Maybe SPAC or someone else could do the same thing, because it's so, so important.
It is. And I think it takes leaders to take positions. And I think NYRA is doing a great job in that. Certainly I think New York State, even from a state level, and we are in conversations with the federal level, the EPA and Department of Agriculture. So everybody's on board, and it's just a matter of expanding that piece of information of what it is we're doing, and how it's changing the entire waste stream and how it's changing our environment. So I think NYRA is a great lead in the New York region. We're in conversations with a lot of facilities around the country. So I think everybody's going to be following the leader.
I love that. And I love that we're the leader. As the state pushes for greener policies and climate goals, how does your work with NYRA contribute to New York State's broader sustainable efforts?
Well, I think New York State, along with many states across the country, are recognizing there are other ways to make things work. And when we speak to both state, local, and federal, what it is checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
And when they understand what it is we're doing, whether it's local, state, or federal, they understand that we're bringing a lot of this technology right here to the U.S. It's homegrown. They understand we're adding more capacity, which means a lot of our factories we license are going to be adding more employment to grow this new technology. We're putting the farmers to work, which we love farmers, and that touches everyone in this country. We need strong farmers. And we have some incredible reporting systems that recognize what it is that each individual using or company using these products are contributing to the positive end of the environment. So it's a unified thing. It's a bipartisan platform for all. And I think we're starting to see that. The governor has been very good in the New York State pushing for environmental issues. And as a quasi-agency with New York Racing, I think that plays well for both the state and the private sector. And we're seeing that across the country.
Yeah.
And the federal level, we were in great conversations with the EPA, the Department of Agriculture. Again, checking all the boxes. They recognize we have something very unique. And so there's all hands on deck.
Yeah. That's incredible. I'm blown away. Before this conversation, I did a little research, but learning everything about you, this organization, where you started, the products you not only grow and create, the jobs you create, the change you're making out there, this is really cool stuff. It makes me want to go home and do a better job. Obviously recycling doesn't work like we hoped, but maybe do some composting. I definitely frequent the track, so I feel confident going there, whether it's the food or the toilet paper, getting healthier products. I just think that's great. And I know today's fans, especially the younger generations, really care deeply about sustainability. Everyone's looking to do things that are better and healthier and safer for ourselves as well as the planet. How do you think that shift benefits NYRA long term?
Well, NYRA and every other sports and entertainment arena is really looking at how they can impact their stakeholders, right? Their patrons, their clients, their customers. Saying they have a green product is not enough, right? And
Agreed.
we're seeing that across the country. The hard questions are, what is the green product you're using?
Yeah.
No one can answer that, right? Our job is to help them answer those tough questions. And because they're able to do that, they can communicate much better to their clients and stakeholders. And you see that in our metric reporting.
Yeah.
So I think NYRA is really on the cutting edge of targeting a generation of new potential clients, customers. And if they do that and achieve that, it's going to benefit the entire system for New York racing. And I think the target is those demographics right now.
Yeah.
35 and younger.
I love that. They're the future, right?
That's what they tell me.
Those, what are they, Gen Zers? Yeah, like we joked earlier, but like seriously, if a TikTok influencer was out there talking about how cool sustainability is and explaining the stuff that your organization explains, that generation would take off.
Yes, I mean, you're right. And, we've entertained the fact of utilizing influencers.
Yeah.
We just don't want to water down what it is we're really doing.
Or make it phony. It's got to be legit.
It's a serious business we're in.
Yeah.
We're in an essential business when you think about it. It's
totally
the consumption of these disposables. You see it every day. This tree-free towel and tissue material is very unique. We want to make sure that everyone understands what they're really doing every time they consume these materials. So it's a serious game.
Agreed.
And I think what we're finding in the recruitment in our organization, we're finding a lot of young individuals joining our company because they're passionate about what it is we're doing. And that's what I love about that generation, to be honest with you. It's got nothing to do with the monetary rewards. It's got to do with what they're doing. And that's I think, is much different than our generation. Yeah,
they're definitely driven by what is important to them. And I think that those are the, trailblazers, the world changers. And that's great. Makes me so happy. Now, here's a quick message from our sponsor. Book lovers, mark your calendars. The Saratoga Book Festival returns October 2nd to the 5th, bringing best-selling authors, inspiring talks, and can't-miss events to downtown Saratoga Springs. Meet your favorite writers, discover new voices, and celebrate the power of storytelling. Learn more and plan your visit at saratogabookfestival.org. So we're going to go to the track and we're going to take a look at some of this stuff. But before we get there, can you tell the audience what we can expect that Emerald has done in the products that we'll see?
Yes. What we've done is we've included quite a few products on site, everything from our towel and tissue materials to food service, working with the food service operators who now recognize also that they're now utilizing truly tree-free materials. So you'll see that throughout the facility. You'll also see some dynamic information about what it is they're doing and the impacts they're doing on the New York racing level. So we'll be doing handouts and different types of things. I think the most important piece is what I've explained and tell our people all the time. Just make sure they're educating in what they're doing because just thinking it's a green product isn't enough, and that's the hardest challenge we have explaining. Because people sometimes are fooled by just a traditional imported green product. So that's our job, is to communicate that to those folks on trackside. But I think New York Racing, I think Emerald Ecovations, I think we're all very excited about the relationship, and it's going to go a long way.
I love it. That's great. When a company labels something eco-friendly and it's not truly eco-friendly, how do they cut corners to label it that?
Well, I think that's a great question. And I think what's happening is it's one of our biggest challenges because we hear from clients sometimes that say, oh, geez, I'm using a green product. And I've pretty much said, well, it's one easy way to resolve that, right? And ask the question, what is in your green product? Have that supplier answer that question. And if they can't answer that question, then you're truly not using a real green product. But the attempt of companies to try to label themselves as green providers. It's happening in every industry, not only ours, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing that every day. But the differential is the materials we use, and we love the challenge of tough questions.
Yeah.
And we're getting those from very serious sustainability directors now that are being, trained and educated in different areas. So the challenge is, if you are unsure, ask that provider, what is in that green product and where does it go when it's thrown out?
Yeah.
And see what kind of answers you get.
That's incredible. Do you think about legacy and what you're leaving with this company and the future of this company, what the world is going to be like?
And I am asked that quite often, right? And I spent 20 years doing the R&D and the investments in advancing this what I think is an incredible program that we've developed. Legacy is an important piece. And one of my responsibilities is to build a management team that can take this to the next level. So this is something that is never going to end. This is the future. And the future is two ways: continue building what we're doing, but more importantly, changing the legacy players to also commit to some of the things that we're doing. And I have no problem with that. I'd like to see that change. And if that is a legacy I leave, then I've accomplished something.
Oh, love that. So do you have kids, grandkids? What do you want the future to be like for them?
Quite honestly, I really put a lot of emphasis in this company because of the future and because of what I recognize as a problem. And again, I can allude back to all the things we're starting to see exposed today, everything from food ingredients to the materials utilized in your tissue products. So looking at that, certainly I think there's a better way to do things, and certainly I think it's going to affect our children and grandchildren. So I am very, very passionate about changing that dynamic for a lot of reasons. But I think we all should be concerned about that. We should all understand that, having waste in landfills that are leaching into our water systems is going to be a problem at some point, whether we take care of it today or not. It's an issue.
Yeah.
So thinking about the future generations is very, very important. Deforestation, why are we cutting trees down, right? 31 million trees to make coffee cups a year. Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
So these are things that I think for all the purposes of the future generation is necessary to communicate. And I think consumers will respond to that. We're seeing that in the corporate level. We think we're going to see that at the consumer level. But again, it's truly being able to communicate these things. And that's what's important.
Yeah, the education is key.
Key, very key element in our industry.
I've got like chills now. I'm like, I can't. It's so impressive everything you did based off of your experience with your kids and the industry you worked in too. So you also had that background knowledge. I'm like thinking through all of it. I'm like, I want to go home and change everything. I want to go get new toilet paper, new paper towels. I want to look more into like soap. I always get weird about soap when I'm with my kids, but my son has such sensitive skin that I always go back to Dove for whatever reason, but I don't think it's the healthiest. But these conversations literally make me think about everything from food to, lotions and products you put on your skin and the products you use. I mean, we're a big paper towel family in general. And not only are we not using green paper towels, all of the waste that I'm producing.
All the trees you're cutting down.
Yes.
Right? So it starts off with really making changes, but that will come. And again, that comes with education. But look, you young ladies, you're going to have your families. You're going to think of the future. Just educate yourselves.
Yeah.
Right? There's an app called Euchre. I don't know if you know what it is.
Euchre, yes. Y-U-K-A. Yes.
Euchre. Euchre is something that my son said, hey, Dad, my oldest boy, he said, Dad, you got to look at this thing. It's unbelievable. And it really is.
It is.
But it's exposing all the elements of products.
And that's the one that gives the scale, right? Like 1 to 100. And
there's a scale. You drill into it. It
Yep.
tells you all the elements that are in the products and
Yep.
what's good, what's bad. That's the future. You guys got the tools.
My brother-in-law introduced me to that like a month ago, and he was literally scanning all the SKUs of my food.
You get crazy.
And I literally almost cried because I think I'm buying Annie's Organic Bunnies or whatever, and it's not good for you or your children. And I was like, I'm a terrible mom because I'm literally looking at something in a grocery store that says organic or says it's this, and then giving it to my children thinking that I'm doing the right thing. And then you scan it and it's like a 5 or a 10 out of 100. Like the app literally lights up red. So I'm like, oh my God, I was trying to think of what the healthiest thing. My kids like mandarin oranges, the ones that come in the juice. That was the healthiest thing in my house other than like my cucumbers and things you can't scan. So I was like, wow, I'm going to keep buying these oranges, I guess. But it was
You have the tools, use the tools because, these are the things that we didn't have 30 years ago. And that's how they got away with it, right? That's how, I don't slight big corporations at all. I believe there's a place for everyone, but they do go off the scales a little bit and get away with things they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But it's up to the consumer to make those changes. And now the exposure is there.
Yeah.
Right? And we're seeing that at the government level now. Coca-Cola is changing to cane sugar. Okay. Red dyes are coming out of products.
Yes, red dye is a big thing too with the kids.
We're waiting for them to announce the products and chemicals in toilet tissue soon. Hopefully they'll expose that also. The point is, this is a generational thing, and you guys get your arms around it because you could change things, and you got to be a disruptor.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen unless you're a disruptor, and that's what I consider our organization. We're disruptors.
I love that.
Good disruptors.
I love that. Now here's a quick message from our sponsor. Stop dreaming about your podcast. Start recording it. The Bright-Sided Podcast Bootcamp is a 1-day, 4-hour workshop where you'll nail your concept, record a trailer in a professional studio, and get insider tips from award-winning producer Christine O'Donnell. You'll walk away ready to launch with purpose and grow your audience. Limited to just 8 creators at Creators Studio, Saratoga Springs. Secure your seat now at brightsided.com. So you're into horse racing. How long have you been in horse racing? Are you an owner? What's that experience like?
Well, I'm a real environmentalist to some degree, and people say, "Oh, he's a New Yorker and he's an environmentalist." Yes, I am, and so working around the horses when I was a young person gave me a lot of experience working with animals. I was 13 years old walking horses.
Wow!
At the racetrack. So back then, when they
was it Belmont?
They didn't buy Belmont.
Okay.
And Saratoga.
Oh, really?
I came up here and walked horses at 13 years old. So I've been around the racing industry for many, many years. And I was fortunate enough to have some success where I was able to build a farm on Long Island and breed horses. So my children were delivered over 100 babies on our farm. So it was a great experience for them. And there's nothing like taking a new baby out of the mother. So that experience was part of lifestyle. Being with that, and then you get into the racing side of the equation, and it's an exciting sport. It truly is. And the misconception is these animals are mistreated. That's so far from the truth. They're so well taken care of. And people ask me all the time, "Geez, why do they run?" Well, when you deliver a baby at 2:00 in the morning, and at 2:00 the following afternoon they're running around in the paddock, they'll tell you what they're born to do. They want to run.
Totally.
They're not meant to be, So horse racing is a beautiful, beautiful sport, but it's a beautiful lifestyle. And I think that people who embrace that in that way can better understand what horse racing is all about. And New York Racing is really doing a good job. They're truly turning the corner on what it is about horse racing with all the elements of tragic issues, and I think that's something that they're addressing head on in the right way. But at the same time, I think they understand bringing new blood into the industry is very, very important. Horse population's down quite a bit, so the average foals last year was 17,000. When I started breeding, there was 42,000.
Wow!
So there's less of these types of great individual athletes being born every year. So to make this sport survive, you're going to have to invest in it. And I think New York Racing is doing that. So
that's great. There's some horse farms here in Saratoga. I don't know if you've been to any, but it's nothing like going to a thoroughbred farm and seeing the mom, the babies, and just, and those barns, you're right, are immaculate. You could eat off the floor in the barn. They're so well taken care of. And they're just beautiful, like the whole experience. I'm a big racetrack person. I love to go.
You've got a taste of the sport.
I do.
You never lose the taste of the sport.
It's fun. It's thrilling.
But if you get a chance to go to the backstretch and visit these horses, it's great. I think we need some investments in the infrastructure of some of the backstretch, and I've been an advocate for that. So we'll see what happens. But our farms are, they're meticulous, and the horses are well kept. And now that we have this new bedding that we've introduced with our materials, it's incredible. Some top trainers in the country are actually using it because it's softer to the horses. It gives them a whole new element of comfort. And a lot of other reasons. But these are the things that continue to help the horse racing industry.
Yeah.
So
horse bedding. Do horses sleep laying down?
Yes. It's a misconception to think they do sleep standing up.
That's just cows, right?
You'll see them close their eyes, right? Cow tipping. You see them close their eyes, but generally, yes. And, and again, bedding is very, very important. You don't think about it, but geez, you wouldn't sleep on a mattress that's not comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So the traditional was wood shavings, which is highly allergenic. It's got tons of dust. It's no good for the respiratory. And then you got straw, which is another harsh, element to lay on.
Yeah.
Plus, if they eat it, it's a colic issue.
Okay.
Because they do eat this straw. So miscanthus is it's a mirror. They posted it one day. They said it's a miracle product, right? And how it's working for other elements in our business besides being utilized in our finished goods. So it's incredible.
It's better for the respiratory. It's better on their bones.
Dust free. It's like a cushion. I had one of our top trainers in the country actually bet a stall and lay down in it and said, it's better than my mattress at home.
Oh my God, that's great.
So,
I love that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. But those are some of the things that happen when you get into industry that suddenly it takes a life of its own on.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with some of these materials.
Products.
Yeah.
Very awesome. Okay, last question. Do you have a horse racing at Saratoga this summer?
Yes. In fact, we had two. We finished second twice. So we have about 12 horses up here.
Oh,
right
very
now.
cool.
So hopefully we can win a race before the season ends.
I love it.
Nothing like being in the winner's circle. Last year we had a great season. Last year we had a horse run called Smile and Say Cheese, and my youngest son was up here, and it was on his birthday, and the horse won. So
my God, that's
so it was
amazing.
an incredible day, and probably one of the best days I had in Saratoga.
Oh, that's such a great story.
Yeah.
Ralph, thank you so much for coming in today. This has been such a great conversation. I feel like I've learned so much. I think the audience is really going to resonate with a lot of what you talked about. Sustainability is so important, and we all need to do our job to make the planet better, take care of ourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Please like, subscribe, rate, or review our show. Thank you.
This episode is sponsored by Julie & Co. This podcast is produced by Discover Saratoga and Bright-Sided Media.